respect for His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. The minute's silence will begin and end on the referee's whistle.
Christoph Ridley is the referee who looked after the 70s prog rock. Long drive back to London, so any suggestions gratefully accepted.
I suppose you used to dance to that, didn't you, when you were a kid?
Callum Sheedy. Long into the arms of Callum Chick. And Falcons to Michael Young. Testing out early on the shoulders of Chris Vui. Vui at 5. Fitzharding at 6 today for the Bears, only his second start in the Premiership for Harding. Molapola, tight head for the Falcons.
Use it.
This is Will Welch, not long back from the calf injury that very seriously delayed his start to the season. The likes of Welch and Wilson and certainly Young and Toby Flood at 10 today, hoping to arrest the slide that we've been talking about down the table, and they've managed to...
Where Bristol's so dangerous.
I'm not quite sure how it's ended up back in the arms of Will Capon, but it has. All's well that ends well.
We were talking about before the game, that'll go down as a line-out win, but it's a terrible ball for them, and that's where they just need to... If they can get that perfect, that delivery every time, they've got talent like this.
Piatau shaping through and getting his hands on the ball first and picking out his midfield partner, Piers O'Connor. Uren, Vui, Arfoa, Jake Heenan, the co-captain, and he's found Morahan in space, and it needed to be a big tackle, and it was by Stevenson. Heenan's pass has gone to ground, but it's picked up by Arfoa, and Sheedy sensing opportunities. Adeolokan, that ball's curling around wonderfully, and in the end, Cooper Vuna, first Premiership start for his new club, had to be very sharp.
Just curled in a bit, drifted across the field, and they've numbered up. And for some reason he thinks that the man inside's not going to get there. He steps in and creates the opportunity for Morris.
Bind.
So first scrum.
Set.
Bristol attacking scrum.
Fairly solid, as you can see, for the last few games. Very impressive record.
Uren to Sheedy. Beyond Piatau to a marauding Morahan. This is Heenan.
Not on the ball.
Vui continues some early Bears threat.
Use it.
Chick on his marks. Takes on Arfoa. Fitzharding rolling around. Ben Earl is not far away either. Here he goes. I was about to say that Bristol are doing well to protect the ball. In the end, they were doing it illegally.
Falcons. He's triggered and he gives the penalty. A little bit of gamesmanship from some of the Newcastle.
Pressure on George McGuigan to find his man. More often than not, it's been Greg Peterson so far this season, and it is again the USA international.
Taken back.
Young. Here's Max Malins. Good to see him back in the white of the Bears today. Morahan has had a busy start. So to Piers O'Connor, and he employs Adeolokan. Capon. Sheedy Pietau, Siali Pietau with us, not so Charles Pietau, and he helped release a galloping Joyce. Got beyond Stevenson. Capon. Sheedy half thought about kicking, I think. Decided to pass to Pietau.
Yeah, he saw the defensive line come up on the outside. He's looking at it again now. They're trying to blitz him though.
Ball was out, yes.
Ofoa.
Off he, let go, good work.
Sean Robinson doing well not to concede the penalty, listening to Christoph Ridley. Malins, half show and then employing
All
Joyce.
backwards.
Back via Heenan, or at least his fingertips to Vui. Sheedy, Arfoa, O'Connor, Pietau. Wasn't needed in the end to pick up the bouncing ball. Instead it was Fitzharding, Adeoloken. Bustled into touch.
Okay, ball alive, ball
Thokka
alive.
again there. Great defence on the outside. He's put in
You
some
can go
hits.
if you want.
Directly two players. The kick chase is good, and you close down the amount of time that they've got against Bristol.
Falcons rock solid in the line out last Saturday at Welford Road, 100%.
Okay, out now, John.
9 out of 9. Not quite so much in the scrum as we've been talking about.
Use it, Newcastle.
Just back to that kicking game. Jalibert always kicked whilst going forward.
Touched.
So the defensive line in front of him had to come forward, whereas Newcastle have kicked from the backfield on numerous occasions, and then your line in front of you doesn't blitz you. So you're left with more men in the backfield, and Malin's has got more options.
Ball was out.
It's Falcons' ball. It's Will Welch.
It's your own player slowing the ball.
Peterson looks interested. Instead it's behind him to Penny. And now Toby Flood. Callum Chick getting back to full speed after recovering from a knee injury in pre-season. It's taken some time. And Pete Lucock, a character that we're getting to know more and more over the last few months, in midfield again today. Mark Wilson. Flood decides it's time for a little bit of control. Try to push Malins back towards his own 5-metre line. Malins works out that it's Robinson and he's quicker than he is. However, the pass didn't work out, and this is Vuna, and Vuna manages to get the ball away. Eventually
Backwards by Bristol.
to Flood.
It was backwards by Bristol.
Bristol have burgled it back. Morahan, jinking run. O'Connor. Now Harding scragged, but recycles the ball.
Yep.
The Falcons' aerobic capacity is going to be tested today. Bristol have come out and tried to run them off the field with the way they're playing. A lot of walking bodies in midfield. Malins, it's a really good kick, this one, because it turns Malins, gets him going backwards towards his line, but because of that time in play, it's not the best kick chase. Those guys in midfield need to come up with the initial 3. Having said that, by turning the player, making him play from there, they force the error and they get the ball back.
You saw in the kick chase there, you've got, is it Peterson blitzing up or Robinson, and then one of the front row.
Wigan taking out Robinson. They've got good options with Robinson and Peterson together in that second row. That was behind Chick, and it's gone loose.
No advantage.
Classic example of a go the defender. This will show you from behind. Got 2 defenders there, so 2 attackers, and neither of them put their hands up to catch it.
You get them
I don't want it.
Fine.
I guess the reassuring figure of Toby Flood back there now.
Stay next to the scrum, 1 metre.
Uren, he went the other way, and Malins ricocheted off the tackle of George Thokka, who's been busy defensively. Uren again, Vui, O'Connor.
Ball was out, yeah.
Chick was up on him quickly. This Newcastle defence has certainly been energised by Nick Easter this week, Falcons' defensive coach.
No. Still under a foot.
Sheedy,
Advantage.
Afoa. Oh, that was a late hit. It was Brocklebank
There's no arms
coming
in this.
through
He
on
could be in
Sheedy.
trouble here, Brocklebank.
I think this could be a red
Sheedy
card.
stayed down.
Time off. It's not even a tackle. If it was a legal tackle and just late, it would be a penalty, but it's an illegal tackle and it's late.
The front row relatively late on. He was down initially.
An interesting stat that buys on 12 players, let alone 14.
The difference is that when Newcastle have to make this.
Aware that at the next scrum he will be needed. Bristol line-up taken away with Peterson. And now Bristol give it some room. Sheedy's fine, back on his feet. Adiolo can hit hard.
I think Sheedy's hurt. He doesn't go into the ruck after he throws the pass. And that's what gets eventually enables him to get over the ball.
Ball please, Andy. Thank anyone
There's a trap waiting for him. Bang, chopped at the legs, and as you said, Oz, Sheedy doesn't want to put his head in there, does he? He's not confident.
Adam Brocklebank. The Falcons have lost Brocklebank for 10 minutes. The Bears have lost Sheedy for the remaining.
Laws being trialled around the world, aren't we? One of those actually may have been implemented there. Talking about a red card.
African teams as well. Maybe have a natter about that later on. Let's see what
Touchline, they're forced to play it.
Luca to Stevenson. Held on to by a combination of the new man Lloyd and Siali Piatau. And in the end, there was nowhere for Michael Young to go. And in the circumstances, that's an excellent route to take. Capon. Peterson up, but Joyce there first. Piatau. And Harding offering himself as a heavyweight runner in midfield. Uren snaking across the pitch until he ran into the arms of Robinson. Well, I'm not entirely sure what was on the mind of Ben Earl. The sharpest mind at that point belonged to Michael Young for the Falcons.
Well, Bristol trying to play fast and loose from their own 22 in the phases leading up to it. When it got slowed down, allowed Newcastle to get their defensive line in place. And Ben Earl thought, let's try and restart.
That's conversion.
Falcons take the ball, Mickey Young takes it, but Bristol applying a huge amount of pressure to themselves.
Gets from fly half. Johan Lloyd slaps it on the bounce to the try scorer. And well, that's not
Away just to keep playing how they were playing, throw this ball around the field, get the Newcastle lungs burning again.
Now this is Earl, full of determination to right a wrong. Oh, and that won't help his mood. Ball turned over.
And really good from McGuigan.
Hard to control it. To the arms of Robinson.
Advantage on the leg. 3.
He might have gone against Arfoa. Young, Lucock. Tackled by Thomas. Young decided that taking the shortcut seemed like a good idea, and then John Arfoa.
Arfoa thinks, I've given away the penalty, let's just...
He just reminds everybody in the squad what's expected.
Yeah, there's people that
Have eased their way down to the outskirts of Bristol's 22.
Again, they go to that drive. Really good play. Yellow card. Need to get the edging forward, put pressure on Bristol, try and force another penalty.
Young. Pete Lucock held on to it, and then look at the hard work of Ben Earl over that. He feels that he's got some credit to make up here as Peterson works his way through. Flood. And the fullback, Tom Penny. Second half try at Welford Road last weekend in Europe kept Newcastle in the conversation. The Thoka to Welch. Young. Was loose in the end.
Going forward, I think that off Andy Uren, but
Newcastle ball for me.
midway through the first half. That separates the two at the moment. Michael Young's interception try.
Over 15.
Well,
Advantage, 6 laps in the front.
working Adam Brocklebank's yellow 10 minutes down, and they might do even better here, and that's Penny on the charge, and here goes Cooper Vuna, and we know what he's all about. Bouncing kick needs to be controlled, and Cooper Vuna's celebrating. He is claiming.
Bristol
Did
carried
Morahan
over.
get there first?
Okay, let's just quickly check the restart, please. I think Bristol.
There's the initial
Here
play.
we got you.
Piers O'Connor
Yeah,
gets
I've just
lost,
had a
isn't
look.
it?
Yeah.
Adia Loken has to follow him, and then that means Malin's stood with a 2-on-1 on the end.
Oh, yeah,
It's taken back over for Bristol if they do touch it down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
tap
misses it,
that
doesn't
by
he,
White,
Vuna?
arm White, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That was an important left hand from Earl, wasn't it? Because Tom Penny was onto it if he'd not got there.
Vuna would have got there as well.
Bind. Set.
So
Leave the
attacking
nine.
Falcons scrum. Chick goes digging, and here's Vuna again. Been a long time since we've seen his marauding threat.
Away. Good work.
Falcons will surely profit from that if they can keep him fit. Tap on from Will Welch, and then Welch provides the muscle to free it up for Young, and then Robinson.
He needs to roll clear. You're just staying there. You need to.
Yellow bib in the middle of the posts that Flood is aiming for. And the Fal- Covered from an ankle problem, Johan Lloyd. This is his first game in 7 weeks. Penny
Hold Newcastle. Hold. Okay, now on.
halfway, Malins, Morahan. Lloyd was fair distance to his left, so Morahan takes contact.
11
Joyce.
Offside advantage. Offside.
Newcastle just desperate to stop the ball getting into those wide channels. That
Newcastle offside.
Bristol have looked really dangerous when it's got there, dragging them from one side
I
of the
think
pitch
so.
to the
Oh,
other,
yeah,
so
you're-
to pump it down into the 22.
Will Capon eyeing up his options. Might be Joyce. Joyce instead was the lifter to hoist Vu. Time to give it to him. Here we go. Uren to Piatau. And O'Connor was offering himself, and Morahan, he seemed to have found the space and just couldn't execute the pass to Malins. And Falcons have it, and Flood. And again, Bristol, having established the toe hold, have now got to re-establish it. And Johan Lloyd. Michael Young tries to bundle him off the table. Doesn't quite do enough.
It's on to go wide here.
Vui. And then a striding Heenan with Earl. A couple of back rowers combining and still combining. And Earl to Heenan, and he will gallop in. And they've weaved their way through the black and white defence. Combination.
That pace, and they spread wide, play out the back. Newcastle guilty of coming up hard in midfield. That creates the overlap on the outside, and then they just pick off the numbers. The acceleration to come back off that right foot and push through, and then he's got a man on either side. If he doesn't go to the right to Heenan, he goes to the left to Malins.
Yeah, all good.
But really good support play on either side of the ball, and it's just about taking out the last two defenders. That is Bristol at their best.
Lloyd's conversion. Falcons. And now Pat Lam very happy to employ him in the English Southwest. Our foe, and not often you see him more than 6 inches off the floor. And
Okay, advantage. Knock on by Newcastle.
Jamie Lee, the assistant referee on this near side, noticing that the ball was off a Newcastle hand, so Lloyd with the advantage. Heenan.
Advantage over.
Earl, and then Morahan, and Welch,
Backwards by
important
Newcastle by
intervention. Bears just beginning to pick their passes, Oz.
Yeah, Will Welsh was holding Uren back off the ball there. He did well. But Lloyd's finding space all over the field.
They go two.
Lloyd, Vui, Piatau, Malin's beyond him. He's got Earl a little bit further wide. Instead, Malins doesn't need him, and in a flash, some jiggery-pokery from Max Malins, threatened to give it, and then ran in on his own. And the Bears, in the blink of an eye, are ahead. A couple of beautifully worked tries.
They're just benefiting from that fatigue they've caused by keeping the ball in play. Lovely offload from Earl under pressure. Just wondered whether he'd been pulled back. Indecisiveness, Penny, of having to wait. He just gets beaten with the step and the dummy on the inside, but that is a strong try to back up the one just a couple of minutes ago.
Only for 10 metres, got around the corner. Those dummies are something side.
It's been so impressive. It's their ability to stretch the defence from one side to the other, isn't it? And when they get too narrow, having chased one way, just that crossfield kick that we've seen Johan Lloyd do, again, that causes panic. They race the other way and leave space back on this side.
Bristol, understandably, showing plenty of ambition. Ball in hand now. And then Adeoloken to Uren, and they're unstoppable. And here goes Harding. He's galloping away, and gaps in that Falcons defence are opening up at an alarming rate.
Yeah, it's a yellow card for Toby Flood. Pulled him back off the ball. He was in. Had he not done that,
Lloyd be mobile right now. Bath against Leicester from the right.
This is nice from Malins, running across, waiting for someone to bite in. There's the stepping on the outside from Vuna. And if that stays on the field of play, that's his challenge. Maybe it'll shut everyone else up.
In 5.
Yeah, one challenge in the first 75 minutes.
Hold that one.
Anyway, let us know what your thoughts are at BT Sport Rugby, #Rugby Tonight. What do you think about those changes? Should we see them in the Premiership maybe one day? Here goes Max Malins. He's enjoying himself in the northeast at the moment. Adeoloken into the sunshine. That's
And
the
into
quality
the
of the kick. Yeah.
They've just...
McGuigan. And into Vui.
Okay, use now Newcastle.
Safety here! Safety here!
Too far. Chance to counter now from Malins again.
He chooses to throw and instead invite Morahan to create some mayhem. Uren. And then Piatau. He just needed a second nibble at that, but still did enough to hold on to possession. Earl. Vui. Malins. Adeoloken. They're still missing Stephen Aulango, their top try scorer in the Premiership, on the wing at the moment. Uren. Morahan. And Thocker's strong right arm.
He's never on the ball.
Capon. What about O'Connor? Oh, beautifully done to Uren, and now once more the troops up in support. Morahan in a race for the line with Stevenson, and the ball beats them. James Simpson-Daniel once about that business of holding the ball in both hands, and he was outstanding at it. Grew up not far from here in Middlesbrough, and he said when he was growing up at school, his schoolmaster, if he ever saw him with it in just one hand, he'd send him on a lap of the pitch as punishment. That's where he learned to do it.
Benny would have just been doing laps constantly if he was at that school.
Couldn't do laps at your school, could you? The bars stopped you getting out.
Piatau. Loose ball picked up by O'Connor. Behind Lloyd.
Falcons want a big shot on someone there. They get one on Lloyd after the mistake, but at the moment they're chasing shadows a little bit. Just the ability of Bristol to keep the ball alive. The footwork's been really good. They're not able to get one of their trademark big shots on. They get the turnover here. Falcons want their defence to be able to get some muscular hits.
Keeper Vuna blowing a bit. as is most of the Falcons team, to be honest, such as the fitness test that the Bears are setting at the moment. Piatow.
Seen a stat, Nick, 5 metres on average per carry tells you that Dean Richards doesn't need a team talk at half time. He needs to give his team oxygen.
Alfoa popped up to Earl. He's been totally re-energised after conceding that
You're
try.
offside and you've ran in the channel.
And
Offside and ran in the
referee
channel.
not buying that from Brocklebank.
Just looking at how quick Bristol all buy into counter-attacking. So loose kick there. Look
If
how
that
quickly the
happens,
players
just
are
like-
in position on the right-hand side to go wide. So initially it's not on, but they're much quicker than the Falcons defensively are to get into position. They've got the structure there, they've got the width of the pitch covered, and that gives the men at the back the opportunity to say, yeah, it's on to counter, or no, we're going to have to play
on the pitch, so everybody knows what the formula is in their mind.
that Vui pass that we were waxing lyrical about. That is their pattern, that is their key pattern to get
Not
wide.
now, not now.
Forward, playing out the back like he's a number 10.
Play on. Side by side.
Welch doing
Not now,
things
Newcastle.
his way,
Free.
slowing
Second.
Bears down at least momentarily. Uren, final minute, Bears still eager for one more, a third try to take him with them at half time, and Morahan's going to get it. Goodness me. The nightclub doormen were not noticeably insistent as Morahan.
Young to get it, but it's a basic one-on-one tackle miss. Nothing to analyse. Mickey Young does his job there. That try's not scored.
I think it all starts from your end.
Put it in full harmony with the Bears 23. They were absolutely singing their heads off, getting themselves up for this second half. It was quite a noise as they clattered out of the dressing room to that. I think we can say they're up for it. What about the Falcons? We actually heard lots of things on the referee's mic at half-time that probably aren't repeatable on the television, but that was something that we could repeat. There's Johan Lloyd. Keen to find out when we chat to Pat Lamb in the second half how Callum Sheedy is, given that they've got Exeter next weekend at Ashton Gate, next Friday night under the lights.
They have got a bit of a luxury, Bristol, haven't they? If they could get 5 points today and 5 points next week, they're pretty much assured a home semi-final.
Inside.
Not mathematically, but the virtual.
Falcons go to Kingsholm next Saturday, then London Irish are here. Kupavuna ball away quickly, not particularly neatly. Stevenson having to take emergency action to win it back for them. Peterson to the 10-metre line.
No way! Advantage. Because he's on the wrong side, so it's slowing the ball.
Young. Chip herring
advantage.
after it, but Malins was there first.
Okay,
Just
but
want to look
needs to
at
roll.
Newcastle's last play. Just look how many hesitations there are on the pass here. Mickey Young has to take a couple of steps. Toby Flood looking to see who he's giving it to. And it gets to that wide channel, but it's a bouncing ball. You just don't get the... You contrast that to some of the plays we've seen from Bristol. And that ball's zipping along the line with everyone knowing exactly who...
Rather than controlling the defence.
Falcons have control of the ball at the moment. Impact monitors that you'll have noticed stuck just underneath the ears. I'm sure one or two of you have been wondering what they are, as you might have been all season gathering data to find out how players are affected throughout the season by the big hits that they take. It'll all be assessed at the end of games and put into a big report at the end of the season. Flood, meantime, latest impact taken by Penny. It wasn't one that stopped him, however. And then Young, a bit of hesitation, which invited Uren into the debate. The Thoka.
Tackle!
Try off the wing last weekend at Welford Road. He's back into midfield today to replace Mateus Orlando. Flood, and then Penny.
Stay there. No, it's not. Use.
Stevenson, and then Wathoka. Welsh, it's again a ball that needs sweeping up.
It's just messy, isn't it, when they get outside? I like when Penny gets the ball. There's no messing. He just puts his head down and goes for a gap.
Brocklebank tries to do that. Looks like Joe Joyce has taken a bit of damage to his right arm in the middle of all that.
They're not going anywhere, but we know Falcons like to hold on to the ball. We've seen the stats. Trying to get to that corner. But they're happy to go through phase after phase, and I guess from the first half they don't want Bristol with the ball in their hands when Bristol had nearly 70% possession.
Those phases that Falcons are strung together all game, and it's leading to something now by Wathoka's industry. Wilson was there as well, and then Flood tries to pick out Vuna, read by Adeolokan. Adeolokan takes the shoulder charge and also gets the mark.
To the player well.
It's Arfoa instead, bundling beyond the 22.
I would have loved to have seen him give it to Afoa and him spiral it to the halfway line there.
Instead it's Uren's kick, and it bounces in between Vuna and Flood. There he is. Skirder to Lucock, and then Vuna coming in off his wing, bringing it back in field. Stevenson.
Accuracy.
Set. Stay behind the ball. Use.
Uren. Taken by O'Connor.
Come on now, stay there. Lock offside.
Looted ball to Harding.
Yes. Advantage offside, Newcastle.
Earl. O'Connor bustling his way through. Heenan tried very hard to get there as quickly as he could.
Really good steal, but we're going back for an offside.
Quickly enough. But
multiple players on the left side. Decent jackal.
That O'Connor line's really
Offside,
good,
though,
but you've got to take.
The back row has got to anticipate the half break and the offload.
Capon again rifled into Joe Joyce. Clearly no long-lasting damage to that
Okay, now.
left ankle. Joyce and Peterson shoulder to shoulder. Premiership's two biggest line-out targets on the same pitch this afternoon. Bears doing what they can to muscle this towards the line, and what would be a fourth try, a bonus point securing try. Capon back to Uren, and then this is Lloyd, held on to by Van der Voort. Capon. Lucock's got his head over the ball, but not for long. Vui.
No, it's not, no.
Jan Thomas.
Ball out, yes.
Capon again. It's energy sapping in a different kind of way. Falcons penalties racking up.
He's
Number one,
absolutely
Rob,
right.
I
there.
can't let other players on the ball if he's there.
Although
On its way, and between the posts. Falcon, or doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't, because he's just got to step up and do the job. Obviously, Cal has a lot of experience in calling that, and so Johan's had a few games this year. It's not the same, but that's what you expect, because the experience factor. And but he's doing a good job at the moment, you know. But the guys around him have got to help him.
It's a game that speaks a lot about your fitness and the work that the S&C boys do back home at the new training base, the way you're running it around, the tempo that you're trying to play at right now.
Yeah, it's important. The boys have worked hard, but it's about making sure we're in our structure. I got some calls halfway through. The boys wanted to change. I said, no, it's nothing to do with changing the shape. It's about making better decisions on the ball, and they've stuck at it. But, certainly... I think Newcastle, because they chased them, will go. We're going to keep playing, so it'll be a good game, hopefully, in this last 30 minutes, whatever's to go.
Well, there was a conversation at half-time to change things.
No, during the first half, I think, they got rattled thinking that we needed to change things. I said no, wanted to change it to whether to offload, whether to move it early or engage. All of these things come into play. So it's just about guys doing their jobs and the opportunities are there.
Always interesting. Thanks, Pat.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
There's the new man, Lloyd.
Advantage, slow ball.
Falcons in the middle of all that have brought on Brett Connon, Cooper Vuna's first start for a long, long time has come to its end.
Just on your point about the S&C
That
that Bristol are doing, there's a psychology to the S&C as well. If you're playing a fast, high-running meter game, but you're in control of it, and you've got the hands on the ball, and you feel like you're on top, it doesn't affect you as much as if you're feeling great and they're feeling terrible.
Capon to Vui. Heenan lays it back to Capon.
Newcastle coming up early,
swirling threat here, continuing, and Ben Earl goes through. Fourth try, bonus point, securing try.
Well, the ideal player made for this sort of line, and it is. And it's the men coming out of the back of the maul that he does.
They all broke them, didn't they?
What of the conversion from
Robinson can't quite fill.
Only the third time we've seen Ben Earl in the Premiership this season. He's played a forehand today. And there's still, over 20 minutes to go.
Tackle!
When the Bears win, they tend to win big. They tend to win with bonus points, and we're going to show you some numbers in a moment just to underline that.
Hold in front.
As Connon looks for some territory. Uren was there, Malins.
Hold, Bristol, hold. Now on.
Taken by Penny. Speed was impressive. Oh, well, scratch that. Well, up until that point, he'd been as impressive as any Falcon this season until he...
Straight back at those rather wide shoulders, and that creates a bigger gap.
Certainly had plenty to this squad. Uren finds him. Piatau releases Lloyd. Adeolokan in front of the ball, so Malins needed. And then Falcons defence up quickly, and Uren scoots around the likes of McGuigan and co. And McGuigan came back to make the tackle.
Leave it now. There was a player on the wrong side. Leave it. Lost.
Once more the hooker putting his shoulder into his work. Vui down by his toes to Capon.
Not out.
Still no Harry Thacker, no Brian Byrne today, but Will Capon. Such strength in depth hooker-wise, but however, that's been given away. And then Connon running back into the arms of the bloke who gave it away. Scroder, Stevenson, Offower rips it.
Roll clear.
However, penalty.
Roll clear.
Just a little bit loose.
Ed Holmes readying to... McGuigan, taken by Robinson. Then Lucock Capon and co. Alongside determined Bears defence. Mullapola, it'll need to be determined with him on the hoof. That's gone forward, it would have seen. Now Robinson will gallop through and score, and Robinson has it, but yeah, there was a knock-on in the middle of all that.
Two massive hits from Bristol. Takes the momentum away, there is the knock-on.
And he's helped, and he said he saw a knock-on.
Meyer is on, and so too Rodney Ayew. First Premiership game of the season after out for a long time injured.
Right. Set. You get it, it's gone down far side, yep.
He's one of those big...
Combined.
Keep your fridge stuff in, Ben.
Set. At the back.
Just a little too overeager, however.
Set and step.
Shake of the head.
Massive he is.
Bind. Set.
Surprised he just doesn't scrum by himself and the other 7 go and have a cup of tea. It's so big.
Use it.
Uren to Johan Lloyd. Pietau off on his own, and he's a little northeast adventure. He's got Malin sitting alongside him on the coach. He might need him, and the two of them worked so hard to establish that position. It still might work. Ball went backwards. That's a lovely pass to Adeolokan. Goodness me, the quality of that pass. Initially the break that might have scored but didn't. However, the pass and the finish and the Bears in full flight.
Well, the break to begin with is really easy. Pietau. Malins is saying go to the right hand side so you take Penny with you, and then I can just gas him on the inside. But it's great work defensively by Lucotte to get back there.
Good idea.
Some Bristol changes to tell you about. Jan Thomas has been replaced. John Alfoa has been replaced. Ala Pati Leua is on to replace Siali Pietau.
Set.
15 minutes to go. Chick, Skroder, Conan, Penny. And Thoka, who has gone on to the wing now with Vunarov. Toby Flood still with us. Chick again, running into one of the new men, Holmes.
Hold in front.
Conan's kick, Malin's take. Very nearly releasing Adeolokan. Caught his own pass. Capon runs into the fresh shoulders of Rodney Ayew.
Too late, there's a ruck.
Lloyd, Vui, Leua, and then Malin's accelerating. Morahan gets the ball away beautifully to find Harding. Harding used as one of those fast-running forwards in the 5-metre channels, stretching the pitch with some weight either side. However, on that occasion, Falcon.
10 weight.
Gary Graham on for. I want to come back to that point, Oz, in a minute, but Gary Graham is on for Wilson. And Carl Cooper's replaced Adam Brocklebank.
Advantage over.
Malins.
Ball out. Advantage, knock on. No advantage coming, knock on.
The question I want to ask about that Malins thing.
Momentum, he can go quickly. As soon as he stands still, he's dead. Not literally dead, but...
That's a hefty Falcons scrum that Earl did well to get away quickly. Leua.
Advantage, no clear release. Release.
Again, it's the Jackler.
20.
And again, it's somebody.
Ball, isn't he? For Van der Waal. It's just won a penalty on the other side of the field this time. Referee deeming that he didn't release.
Thank you.
Bears at the moment are winning with a bonus point, unless Newcastle can do something very spectacular in what's left of this contest.
Advantage, knock on.
Not gathered cleanly by Harding. Skroder. Thoka doing what he can to get that ball away, but it's mightily difficult when you've got Chris Vui for company. Cooper.
He's a great athlete, Vui, isn't he? Covers a lot of ground in the games. Perfectly suited to the way Bristol plays as well.
Conan, little exploratory kick, and it very nearly worked for Blaymire, and Malins instead rattles it back. And the Bears rattle up try number
15. He has got so much choice. It's such a good kick, and it just bounces horrendously for the Falcons and into the hands of exactly the wrong guy on the field. You don't want to get it. Who's he going to pick? How does he get them all on the shot line? He can put two sides out.
And now Earl got the bonus point score. Max Malins has just got the 5th.
Advantage knock on.
Got to play Piatow at fullback, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, where's Malins play? You not pick him? Pick him on the wing?
Just a knock on, let's go. Bite!
Another 7 minutes to put up with you two, then I'll be in the car on the way home.
Don't worry, we'll be ringing you.
Listening to Wham.
Offside. 21 offside.
Kessel, who's just come on, one of Bristol's replacements. He's on for Uren. George Kloska's on as well, the new hooker, who was actually man of the match in the win against the Falcons on New Year's Day. Falcons that day left ruining missed opportunities. They could have, should have got closer than the dozen points that in the end separated the two. But quite honestly, beyond the first 20 minutes of this match, Bristol have been in total control today.
Stripped in the air.
Very few opportunities for Newcastle to try and build anything inside Bristol's 22 in this second half. Adeolokan. Laheath.
More! Go! All right.
Just want to go back to something Pat Lamb said about 10-15 minutes ago.
As you'd expect. Good, because it was a rather long way of trying to explain it.
Kloska and Walmore and Laheath against Blaymire and Cooper and Ayew. And Lewis Skirder. Newcastle scrum half Tom Kessel, Bristol's replacement.
Too early. It's gone down too early to reward you. Let's go again.
Too many people fighting for that 5th and 6th position for them to make it now with that 11-point gap. They have to go on a really good run.
Advantage.
Chick doing what he can do. Oh, he's stayed on his feet brilliantly, and he's taken it to within 6-7 metres. Skirder. Conan. The big Wahe over the top to Flood, who's now in midfield.
No advantage coming. We'll go back. Scrum penalty, standing.
But for me, the star for them has been Matt Meter's run, and he's been a lot about
Fancy playing wrestling, wouldn't they?
3 minutes to go. Blaymire to Robinson. Falcons trying to remind us of what they've been about, certainly in that first part of the season.
Leave it, Bristol!
Spent a lot of this game talking about Bristol for understandable reasons, but it's the Falcons at the moment ending the game on the front foot. And remember all of this after they led by 10 points to 0 early on in that first half. Michael Young's try. They've not added to the score since then. A little over 2 minutes left to change that. It'll be purely cosmetic, however.
Advantage, slowing the ball.
Squirrel just happy to let the forwards continue. Carl Cooper, mobile hooker, transitioning into a prop, trying to work his way over the try line. Christoph Ridley sees it, dab down, and a late, defiant Newcastle try.
It's an area of the game that they were really strong at, particularly this game. They have to have the patience to drive the ball over.
Toby Flood not hanging around with the conversion. Bristol on the point of setting a new club record in the next few seconds. They headed into this match unbeaten in 7 Premiership games, a run that included that incredible draw at London Irish, but they're about to stretch that to 8, and that will be their best ever run of Premiership results. And it is not just catapulting them into the playoffs, it's catapulting them towards a home semi-final as well at Ashton Gate. It's surely only a matter of time before that's secured mathematically now. Final 10 seconds of a contest that, beyond the first quarter of it, they've totally bossed.
Thank you.
Lukoc for the Falcons.
Tackle away, Bristol. Not now.
Penny, oh, then Stevenson racing away. A late charge for the Falcons. Just reminding us of what they're all about when they play at their best. Flood, Lukoc, and then the Thoka. Van der Volts.
Leave it. Hands on the floor, you're off your feet. You've got to give it up once you go flat on your stomach. Hands.
There's a lot of heavy breathing around the rest, Mike, isn't there? I'm sure how many of those guys want to keep playing with the game gone. We'll get one more shot.
I'll wait once he's kicked.
How tough it is to come to a place like Kingston Park and roll away with a 5-try win, particularly when you consider the big names that the Bears have done that without today. Newcastle distinctly second best, and